Good morning, viewers, and welcome once again to your authoritative interview program, Graphic Talks 360. Graphic Talks 360 is a production by Graphic News Plus app. You can download the Graphic News Plus app on any Android or iOS phone or any laptop computer. So you can find the Daily Graphic, the Junior Graphic, the Mirror, Graphic Showbiz, Graphic Business, and the Graphic Sports on the Graphic News Plus app. Today, our guest is a senior lecturer and founding head of the Department of Biomedical Engineering of the University of Ghana. She contributed immensely towards the development of science education at all levels in Ghana and beyond, and has been the host and quiz mistress of the Ghana National Science and Mathematics Quiz TV program since 2006. She is a member of the Scientific Programs Committee of the Next Einstein Forum, a member of the Ghana National Committee of the United World Colleges. She sits on the board and advisory councils of the West Africa STEM Hub. She is also a member of the Ghana Institute of Engineering, a fellow of the Biomaterial Science and Engineering, an accolade awarded by the International Union of Societies for Biomaterial Science and Engineering, and is the current president of the Ghana Society of Biomedical Engineers. Please welcome Dr. Elsie Effah Kaufmann. Dr. Kaufmann, you're welcome to Graphic 360.
Thank you very much.
You are here today as a guest editor of the Daily Graphic.
Yes.
You've taken us through a number of conferences. Mm-hmm. Can you give us your impression about what you've seen so far?
It's been an amazing day. I have chaired 2 conferences so far. I have gone on the various rounds to see all the facilities you have, met a whole lot of people, your teams. I am impressed. That is all I can say. It's just impressive. The number of teams that work together to bring out a product, it's amazing. It's amazing. And you are also very hardworking, and you have to be under pressure all the time because you have to deliver your product at a set time. And I'm very happy and I'm honored that I got the opportunity to see what you do.
Okay.
Thank you.
We gave the opportunity as part of our 70th anniversary.
Yes.
In the next 70-year milestone, we want to see some improvement. I mean, to satisfy our readers like you. Can you tell us or give some pieces of advice as to how to, make the brand better?
All right. So I'm an engineer,
Yes.
and so, as you can imagine, I'm looking forward to the next 70 years. If I'm around to see, I'll be around to see part of it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to your adoption of technology. I want to see participation. When we went to the press, I saw certain things that we could do ourselves. So I was even talking about how we could involve students in developing some of the things you use, the paper, the plates you use for printing. These are things you should be able to produce ourselves here in Ghana and then use to do your work. And so I'm looking forward to seeing the technology improve, and I'm looking forward to seeing our own people involved in the improvement of technology to make your work even better.
Okay.
Yes.
Looking at your CV, I just read an abridged version. You are into science.
Yes.
What drove you to become a scientist?
It's a sense of curiosity,
Okay.
I have always been curious. Even as a child, I was exploring, trying to find things out, trying to understand certain things. I think I was an experimentalist at heart. So the opportunity to learn, and then as I got older, I realized that science was very powerful, because if you want to change the world, if you're an engineer like me, you can actually think of what's next. What can you come up with that will help change society? And so I felt it was a very powerful tool to have, to be able to understand the world around us and to use that information to make the world that is ahead of us.
But it's an area where many women like you shy away from, because it involves mathematics. People have to calculate a whole lot of things. People always want to shy away. What was the motivation? You've said you were very curious, but it's like one in many.
Well, I grew up in an environment where nothing was impossible. You see, with the kind of parents that I had, my father and my mother, the way they brought us up as a family, it was simply not an option to think that anything was beyond you as a child. Okay. The idea that we're brought up with was that if you want to do something, make sure you do it and do it well, and you shouldn't say, I'm a girl, I'm a boy, so I can't do this. We did everything together. The boys were doing the same things I was doing. I was doing the things the boys were doing. I never even thought that there was any difference from the way we were growing up. Yes, and I think it has to do with that kind of mentorship, starting from the very early days, to encourage the young ladies to think that yes, they can also do it. And then the more of women like me there are who actually put themselves out to be seen, can also help to encourage some young ladies to also know that they can also do it. So visibility and then providing mentorship and actually receiving mentorship, that can also help to do this.
But looking at girls on their own, maybe students, you know, from the infant stages, what do you think can demystify that kind of misconception, if I may put it, about science and maths?
Okay, so one thing that I do, I don't know whether you've been following some of the things I do, I try to relate everyday things, everyday occurrences, explanation of those things to science. So we have science all around us. You may not be conscious that you are using science, even as you sit there doing your job now. You are using a whole lot of science, but you may not be aware of it. It's the way we teach, and I've been talking a lot about this, you know. So when our children go to school, suddenly science is a subject. It's time for science. And then the calculations, or it's time for math, and then the calculations come out, as you were saying, and suddenly everybody tunes out. If we knew that every aspect of our life was really based on science, and if we wanted to explain how we do the things we do, what we are going about our business doing, involves a lot of science, I don't think it would be something so mysterious that it even needs to be demystified. Yes. So using everyday opportunities to teach science, to learn science, that can make it a lot friendlier than it is right now. We need to change the way that we introduce and teach the subjects.
Okay. Now, your name has become so synonymous with this brand, National Science and Maths Quiz.
Yes.
How are you selected to become the host?
Well, believe me, I wasn't even watching the program. I returned to Ghana in 2001 after I finished my training in the US. Okay. And I was appointed to the Department of Physics at the University of Ghana. There was no engineering then. I was employed actually to help start engineering at Legon. So I was in the Department of Physics doing my normal work, and I do everything with passion. By now you should know. Yeah, I can see that. So I was working very hard, and I guess I came to the notice of my head of department at that time, Professor Udrefriye was my head of department, and in those days he was the consultant for physics on the program. The quiz mistress at the time was getting ready to leave to go do her PhD, so they were looking for someone. Okay. So he decided to nominate me. And he called me and told me about this opportunity to do a program. I was a bit, I had never seen it, so I didn't know what to expect. Okay. And I got to meet the other members of the consultant team, and then I was invited to go see the quiz mistress at the time moderating a quiz. And I actually drove and went to Achimota School, which was where it was being recorded at the time. And I saw what she did, and I said, okay, I can give it a try. And that's how I started. Yes.
It's a hot chair, you know. I can see how old students in particular are very interested in this program. How do you manage the pressure?
Oh, I don't think too much about it. I mean, to be able to do this job and do it well.
But you get calls from people, you know?
Oh, yes. Yes, I do get calls. When the school loses, it's always the quiz mistress's fault, you see. So I do get calls. I get asked why I am intimidating one particular school. Why have I sorted the questions to give the most difficult ones to some particular school? I have colleagues who don't speak to me for a month or two after the whole thing ends.
Really? That's interesting.
But the funny thing is, you know, the contestants themselves understand the rules of the game very well. I don't have any issues with the contestants themselves. It's the old students. Some of them don't even know what the rules are. You know, just recently, someone was giving me a notice that I was too hard on some school. I could have asked them to repeat their answer or given another answer.
Really?
Yes, because you see, it's a sign that they don't know the rules. I don't know the last time we were doing multiple answers for a question, but now it's one attempt only. So the fact that you can accost me and give me this trouble means that you don't even understand the rules. So I have to have a big heart and
tolerate everybody.
Yes, listen to everybody, and I sympathize, you know, but sometimes the way in which I sympathize does not go down well. So I may say what I think are gentle words to a school is taken completely differently.
Okay. But what's the nature of the preparation?
It's a year-long program. I mean, to see a competition like we just ended takes a whole year of preparation. First is to set the questions. The consultants, the subject consultants, spend a lot of time setting questions. Then we have a moderation team that meets. Typically, when we start meeting, we meet once a week, and then as things get closer, we meet multiple times a week. The whole idea is to make sure that we read through every single question. So the team will all bring their input to bear on every question. And then the quiz mistress now takes these, and then if it's me, I spend a whole lot of time going to do background searches, making sure that the questions are valid and accurate, leaving ambiguities to the barest minimum. Because you see, the old boys and the teachers will challenge, especially now with the money zone and a lot of money is at stake. They challenge everything. So you cannot have a wrong answer. And it's amazing, considering how many questions we ask, how many times we have an issue. You have to think of what is happening backstage to make that possible. So I spend a lot of time reading questions, checking questions, consulting with these consultants, and making sure that everything is perfect. Then, during the period of the competition itself, it's usually 1 month of intensive work, make sure that I'm ready. I'm ready to meet the contestants.
But I realize this time you do some regionally. So you set questions for the regional, for the various regions, and then, you know, for the national too.
Yes.
You should have a lot of questions from various places.
A lot of them. So in fact, this year we set 70 contests for the regional competitions.
70?
Yes. It's a truly national program. So all regions, all schools in all regions are welcome to participate. So the teams go round from region to region. These are qualifiers. You know, at the end of the competition, we have 27 schools that are seeded. They don't participate in these regional competitions. But the rest of them all have to qualify from the regions in order to join this 27 in order to continue, right? So the competitions are held in all regions of Ghana. This year, that's what I'm telling you, this year, 70 contests. And then in addition to that, some regions had championship contests. So that was an extra 10 contests, so that makes 80.
80.
Yes. Then for the nationals, we had to do another 76, 77 contests. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of questions. Yes.
So how are the students prepared?
Okay. So every school has its own method of preparation. The more successful schools don't just take 1 year group. The schools that have been successful and have experience, they actually pick their first year students and start grooming them towards this competition in their final year.
Wow.
Yes, they have a team. So you see the 2 students sitting up there on stage, they have a whole lot of support behind them. There are teachers who teach them. They have their colleagues who do research for them to get information. Yes, so it's a whole enterprise.
Wow.
But the good thing is, it's encouraging our students. You know, there are students now in our basic schools who target certain schools because of the National Science and Math quiz. They want to go to those schools so that they can be contestants. They study really hard to make the teams that actually come and represent the school.
So the level it's making an impact.
It is making an impact. So the level of education generally has improved because there are students who are studying hard and making sure that they get onto these teams.
Unfortunately, we don't see the girls' schools, making it. Why that?
That has been a major challenge. There have been several hypotheses, let me call them hypotheses, about why the girls don't do so well.
The gays, Holy Coast.
Yes. In fact, the girls from Wesley Girls, for example, they have been winning the WAEC, what's it called, recognition awards. Not just in Ghana.
Yeah, West Africa.
West Africa. When you look first place, second place, third place, usually Ghanaians. These are the girls from Wesley Girls, usually. And yet, when they come onto the competition, when they come onto the stage, something happens. At first, we were thinking that it might be because of the environment, the crowds yelling negative things and so on, the trolling and all that goes on. But this year, it really wasn't that much because of the COVID. We reduced the audience. In fact, I was thinking this is the year for the girls to shine. Because all that noise had been cut to a minimum. Fortunately, it still didn't happen. So there may be something else at play. Maybe the way in which they prepare. It may be just the idea of competition. We have to honestly consider that too, that the girls may not see the value of competition as much as the boys. It's possible. Again, I'm hypothesizing. I am actually recommending that we do a proper study to find out, because it's unfair. It's not right.
They don't even
underrepresented.
Use you as the quiz mistress with that solid background in maths and science to motivate them in any way?
Oh, I try to motivate them. I actually sometimes I interact with schools. If they are invited to go to a school, I'll talk to the contestants. But well, just being there gives them an idea that it's possible to do it. But to be honest, if I had been a contestant in my time so many years ago, I would have been a terrible contestant. I personally would have been a terrible contestant because I'm very good, I'm very accurate, I can solve all those questions, but I'm not fast.
But have
These
you
young
complained
people
about...
are fast.
Okay, so they haven't complained about the time allotted to them to solve any question at a particular time?
Oh, they complain a bit about physics, that the physics questions are not possible to solve in 30 seconds that they are given. But believe me, they complain this year. Next year, give them the same question and they can do it. So they keep improving. They keep improving.
But this thing has been happening for almost 2 decades.
Yes, actually, yes. The first competition was held in 1993. In fact, this one we just ended was the 25th edition because we missed some 2 years where there was no funding for the program. 2010, 2011, there was no funding at all for the program. But other than those 2 years, we've been running. And so this was the 25th edition. So 25 years of National Science and Math quiz this year. And
the questions are always new every year?
Oh yes, they are always new every year. And just as I have always told, I have told you, the consultants work really hard. If you compare a question from today to a question from 2000, it's like night and day. They are not even comparable.
Oh really?
Yes.
But I've heard people say, oh, we have to buy Pasco.
Oh, they do buy the Pasco. They can buy the Pasco if they like. It's good to buy Pasco because it makes business for prime time. But the questions are not at all the same. Just as I said, the students have been improving. Consultants have also been getting wiser and improving.
Oh, I see.
And so the level of difficulty is so much more difficult now than in the past. As I was mentioning, in the past, the format was different. Each question, there were 3 contestants in the old format. Each of them could give an answer, so there were 3 attempts at a question. Unheard of now. Now there are 2 contestants and 1 attempt at a question. They have to be better in order to be able to answer the more difficult questions with just 2 of them in 1 attempt. Yes. So we keep changing in order to adapt to our situation.
So what do you hope to see in the future with this competition?
Okay, so there have been a lot of criticisms about the competition. You know, people asking for it to be more practical and so on and so forth. Well,
yeah, I was going to come to a practical bit of it.
Yes, we can do that, but remember, there's a reason why engineering is not taught in the basic schools. Engineering is pure application of the foundations of science and math. You must have a solid foundation first before you can apply very well. Otherwise, what will happen is we'll just repeat what other people have done because we don't really understand the science. Okay, so there's still going to be room for a competition like this in the future where people are tested on simple concepts. I don't know whether format will change. Format may have to change to get people more engaged. In fact, when the format stays the same too long, it becomes stale. I think it's about time we change format again to bring a little bit of excitement. So I can see changes in the future. I can see changes in format, but the need to understand foundation, basic concepts very well is also needed. What I'm seeing also is with the call for more practical, more applied kind of programs, that it may transition also to that sort of competition where students are given project-based problems to solve on there. But you still do need a foundation.
So it's not something like, as people are asking, you can bring something very practical to show on the day that this school had this.
We're already doing that. You know, now it's been rebranded. Primetime is calling it the National Science and Math Quiz and Science Festival. The reason why they do that, they've been calling it this, is because there's been a section where the students were asked to bring their projects from school. So they bring and demonstrate their projects. So there's a whole week, or sometimes when the COVID-19 was not in place. So there's a week or so where the students come and demonstrate their projects. And the idea was to move it eventually into a competition. But I have been going to all of these school fairs. I attend these fairs to find out what students have been doing, including the Science Festival that is organized around the National Science and Math Quiz. I have been usually a bit disappointed. The reason being, the students have produced something practical. Usually, it is something copied from elsewhere, some product that is available in another country in a different form, right? And when I ask questions, on what foundation, which scientific concept did you base this on? They have no idea. So if we like, we can ask our students to come up with gadgets. Plenty of them, we can do that. But if we don't understand foundation, it will be hard. And this is what happens with me, with my students in the engineering school. The engineers are supposed to be the innovators, come up with new ideas. Right? So they identify a problem, they use the scientific and mathematical concepts to arrive at a solution which is original. When the foundation is good, they can come up with very wonderful things. So we still need the foundation to be strong so that when they come up with these projects, yes, the projects are good, but we need to strengthen the foundation upon which those projects are built. That's one point. The other thing is also a mindset. This is where the projects are good, right? But if a student feels that what they are learning has some purpose, and they can actually be an innovator, they can be inventors, it will change our mindset. You know, it's a mindset change to believe that we can do that. And then we can now come up with the products to solve our problems because we believe we can do that. We also should have support from the environment. So, for example, I was talking about the plates that you have in your press.
In the press, yes.
Yes. Why do we import everything? Don't we believe that we have the capability to think of new ways, even better ones than what can be bought from elsewhere?
To save us a lot.
It will save us a lot, right?
And we will have the currency.
Yes, and we'll have the pride to say that we also have come up with something. Okay, but as it is now, again, I come back to the way in which we teach our science and math. It is only for the certificate. Do well, maybe you get to come to National Science and Math Quiz. After that, we'll leave you alone. Go back and do more chew and pour, and get a university certificate, you can be called engineer, you can't produce anything. You are still fine because it's about grades. But if we start from the beginning, telling our young people that you are learning the science, you are learning the math because it's life, and you are doing it because it is supposed to help you to become a problem solver, to support development of your country. If you see a problem, you use your science and math to solve that problem, right? And your solution will be taken seriously.
But do you think we have the kind of tutors to guide them? I mean, these schools all over the place. Do you think we had the kind of tutors to guide them to achieve what you've just explained?
All right. So it's been said that you can't give what you don't have. Right? You can't give what you don't have. If you were taught all your life in a certain way, you are likely, and you become a teacher, you are likely to follow the same
True and poor, the same
exactly,
way.
you are likely to follow that. So it comes also with those who teach. We need to decide. It's a conscious decision. This is the type of teacher we want. We train towards that. And I'm happy to say there's another group that I work with, the Practical Education Network.
Okay.
They have taken it upon themselves to train teachers to use the things around us to teach. And some of the ideas I just mentioned, to encourage our students to think that they can actually come up with something, they can solve problems. They are doing that. So they are training the teachers with the idea that the teachers will now train their students in a certain way. And then that is perpetuated. It has to start from somewhere, right? So if you're a traditional teacher doing the normal 1 plus 1 is 2, and no idea why is 1 plus 1 2, what am I going to use 1 plus 1 is 2 for? If we continue doing that, then we'll continue along the path we are going. But if we make a conscious decision that we are going to change the way in which we deliver what we have to teach, it's going to help.
What do you think will be the contribution of corporate Ghana in making this not just bigger, but more practical?
Okay. First of all, encouragement. Like we said, we have to change the way in which we are teaching. What effort can they make? I mean, can they contribute, adopt a school, adopt a teacher, sponsor the teacher to go through different training in order to be able to deliver better? If our students actually come up with products, it's very expensive to develop a product from just idea to a commercial product. Who is supporting our students through that transition? So if corporate Ghana wants to come in, they can think of sponsoring some of these projects using our own products, homegrown products. Okay, and this I have to once again talk about my people at the University of Ghana in biomedical engineering. We have been tested. I don't know whether you noticed during the early days of the COVID-19, March, April. Suddenly, protective equipment, PPE.
PPE, yes.
Short supply everywhere in the world. Borders closed. Borders closed. So even if you have money, plenty of money,
you can't import.
You can't import. In some countries, exportation of PPE and medical devices banned because they need it for themselves. What were we doing? It's the grace of God that we didn't see the predictions come to
Ghana.
Be. Because what would we have done? Have we trained the engineers who believe they can produce the PPE? I set up a team and we're able to come up with face shields. But it was a huge effort. Even now I'm struggling, to be able to continue some of the projects that we did. Funding alone. Where do you get funding to get people working full-time on a project like this? All my members were working elsewhere and then spending their extra time on the project. You see?
So COVID should teach us,
It should teach us a lesson that a time is coming where you can have all the money you want, you can't travel to another person's country to go and enjoy their facilities. So you better train your own to be able to solve the problems that you have locally.
So what role can government, apart from corporate Ghana, what role can government play in this? Having seen the progress of this competition and what is churning out, what role can government play in terms of tweaking a policy or something?
Okay, so I have been talking about this over the years, right? The educational system. Let's define clearly. We can do this from the level of government to all the way to, just policy to even implementers. What kind of product do we want? When a person graduates from engineering school, what should they be able to do? As opposed to what certificate should they be holding, right? What should they be able to do? And if somebody wants to go into an applied area, application of science to solve some national problem, what sort of support should government provide? Elsewhere, people get support. I mean, there are incubators, right? So there are places where people go to develop their ideas, develop their skills. There's some support, basic support for them to be able to come up with these ideas to solve problems. I expect government to be putting out challenges. This is a problem we have. Who has a solution? And then encourage our young people to attempt at solving these problems, and then encourage them that, see, the thing is, if somebody feels that whatever they do, it's not going to matter, it's very hard to get them to do anything. But if we know that you come up with a solution, you will be recognized for being the person who presented that solution, and that solution will be put to use for you to see that if we are patient, it doesn't happen overnight. The solutions we come up with in the beginning may not be as refined as the ones you can import from elsewhere. Can we be patient enough with our own people? It may be a little bit more expensive than the one you can import from a country I will not mention. Can we still support them so that we build capacity
over time?
Can government put in place structures so that somebody can set up a factory to produce some products we have been importing for many years? These are the sort of things that I am thinking about.
Okay. Finally, we can realize the pressure from old students.
Yes.
We know old students like to help their alma mater with some other projects. What would you advise them so that at the end of the day, they'll feel more comfortable with what is happening with this competition?
Okay. It's excellent that all students have finally gone back to their schools to support what is going there.
Yeah.
Many are actually contributing huge amounts of money.
Okay.
Just to make sure that their teams get to the finals and win, and then they can be crowned champions. My advice is this: it's good. I'm all for supporting the schools, but I'm thinking that if you want to support your school, don't only think about the National Science and Math Quiz team. Think about how you can improve the quality for all students in that school. So sure, provide a certain amount for your Science and Math Quiz contestants, but also go and improve the quality of the labs so that other students can also benefit. Yes, so that's the sort of thing I'm thinking about, the old students. And yes, continue cheering. It encourages the young people. So keep doing what you do.
So thank you very much, Dr. Kaufmann. It's been interesting talking to you. I think I'm very privileged to have you. Although I wish I could have been on the competition myself. Accra Academy, unfortunately, we are not.
No, organize you and your colleagues and come. I'll find a school to face you.
We'll do that. Thank you very much, viewers. All too soon, we've come to the end of this program. My name is Charles Bernard Okain, the host. With me has been Dr. Elsie Effah Kaufmann. We know her best to be the host of the National Science and Maths Quiz Competition. Until next week, see you again. Bye.